But let's move into the next topic. And since in the Kobe talk, we talked about the All-Star game. Obviously, him and Bob Petta have the most MVPs for the All-Star game. So we talked a little bit about the fact that they're going to both wear, Team LeBron's going to wear 2 to remember Gianna Bryant, and Team Giannis is going to wear 24 to remember Kobe Bryant. Do you not remember the Gianna part?
I misheard that in the Kobe part. I thought it was going to be 8 and 20. I thought you said 8 and 20.
So LeBron is going to wear 2 for Gianna,
okay.
and then Giannis is going to wear 24 for Kobe.
In the Kobe segment, I heard 8 and 24. That's why I was like, wait, 2?
And there's
2 now?
Too many changes to the NBA rules, so if you want to figure those out, you can go look them up or go rewatch the Kobe one. I went through the rules. But basically, they're going to play each quarter is going to start 0-0. They're going to play 12-minute quarters. If you win a quarter, you get $100,000 to your charity. And then before the fourth quarter, they're going to add up the total of the points. So if it's 100 to 95 after 3 quarters, which it's an All-Star game, it's going to be like 124 to 150.
Yeah.
But after 3 quarters, if it's 100 to 95. The team with 100 only needs to score 4 points to win in an untimed quarter, and then the team with 95 needs to score 29 to win to then in the untimed quarter to win. So before the team scores 24. So that is what's going to happen to at least remember Kobe for the All-Star game. But outside of that, there was the news that the NBA starters and reserves were announced. The starters, the captains are going to be Giannis and LeBron. They haven't drafted teams yet, so outside of the captains, we don't know what the teams will be like. But the starters that they will pick from will be Anthony Davis, James Harden, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Kemba Walker, and Trae Young. And along with that, the NBA All-Star reserves were announced, and that's Bam Adebayo of the Miami Heat, Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans, Chris Paul of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz, Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers, Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz, Nikola Jokic of the Nuggets, Ben Simmons of the Sixers, Domantas Sabonis of the Pacers, Jason Tatum of the Celtics, Jimmy Butler of the Heat, Kyle Lowry of the Raptors, Chris Middleton of the Bucks, and Russell Westbrook of the Rockets. And I think the 2 biggest names, and I know there's going to be a third name brought up here because we're 2 Bulls fans, but the 2 biggest names I think that came up for the NBA All-Star snubs were Kyle Lowry and Devin Booker. Which one was a bigger snub in your mind from the All-Star reserves, and whose spot should have they taken in the All-Star game? So I'm going to go to Dave first because I know you have a lot.
You said Kyle Lowry. Bradley Beal.
You said Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, you said Kyle
Lowry.
It's okay. I just wanted to correct you.
God damn it. Who was a bigger snub, Devin Booker or Bradley Beal?
Neither one of them was a snub. Really? I'll say it. I'll say it. Really?
Really? Yep. Absolutely one of them was a snub.
No, neither one was a snub. People are looking at Chris Paul trying to knock him out.
No.
I think a lot of people are.
I am.
A lot of people seem to think he was the low man on the totem pole. I disagree. I think Chris Paul deserves to be there. I think he's had a fantastic year, leading a young team to a playoff spot that, people expected them to blow it up at this point in the season, and instead they're competing for, a 6th seed, I think, right now. Mm-hmm. So credit to the Thunder for that. I think Bradley Beal and Devin Booker have had really good years. I don't disagree that they're not good players, but at this point in time, like, both of their teams are on the outside looking in at the playoffs, and the thing that seemed to happen this year was we'd rather have the second best player on a top team versus a best player on a bad team. And I don't disagree with that, methodology. I think there's a lot of things that go into it because at the end of the day, like, the All-Star game, what is it? Is it a career impact moment, or is it just an acknowledgement that, like, hey, you're super entertaining and we want to have you here? Because, like, it's a vote. It's not even like this is a first team All-NBA, second team All-NBA, third team All-NBA, where, like, we can look at their stats, we can look at their advanced metrics, you can look at all the little things.
The starters are the only things that are voted on.
Well, the fans vote on.
Yeah.
And then the assistant coaches pick the reserves.
50, 25, 25 for the starters, right?
Are there any starters that you believe shouldn't be in the All-Star game? Like, the voting isn't the problem with me because all of the starters, I believe, are All-Stars.
Yeah.
If you didn't think Trae Young should be a starter, that's fine, but he should still be an All-Star.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I mean, I can't make the argument for Bradley Beal and not make the argument for Trae Young. Trae Young should be an All-Star. Mm-hmm. The guy that shouldn't be here, the guy that coasted here, the guy that is just getting here off of recognition, name recognition, is Russell Westbrook. This guy should not be an all-star. Get the fuck out of here.
In what world?
This guy is not better than Devin Booker. He is not more impactful than Devin Booker this year. Devin Booker is a better Western Conference guard than Russell Westbrook right now. I would rather see Devin Booker putting up 27, 6, and 4 than Russell Westbrook's inefficient ass in the All-Star game. I'm sorry. I understand that Russell Westbrook's probably more entertaining to watch on TV. I know that he's a better character. I know that he's a bigger star. But Devin Booker is a better player this year than Russell Westbrook. If you put Devin Booker on the Rockets, they would be more successful. Devin Booker should be an all-star and Russell Westbrook should not. You cannot point to a single stat that says Devin Booker is playing worse than Russell Westbrook. Russell
Wins
Westbrook.
and losses.
It doesn't matter to me.
Look
It's
at
not a team
who's the
thing,
starter.
it's a player thing.
Who's the starter
Wins
in the West?
and losses.
James Harden is the reason they have more wins. If you look at win shares, one person is worth more win shares than the other.
Well-
Devin Booker is worth more win shares than Russell
It's not a
Westbrook.
perfect stat.
There's also been a bigger injury to their team, being Ricky Rubio
Yeah.
being injured for the Suns than there has been for the Rockets.
I agree with you. This is weird.
Thank
I
you.
agree with Sean. That Devin Booker's a snub. I would have went with a different name over Westbrook that I'll get to in a second, but I want to throw this to you because you said find one stat. What about the people that say that Westbrook averages 8 rebounds and 7 assists per game compared to D Book's 4 and 6? So Westbrook's getting more rebounds and more assists per game than Devin Booker's getting. Although Booker is shooting more efficiently and is scoring more points per game.
I would say to that, and I mean, you at least pointed to the counting numbers, which is fair. I had the numbers pulled up, so I'm apologizing because I pulled them up the wrong way because I'm a fucking idiot. At least to the question of that though being the per game stats. If you look at the per 100 possessions, one player has an offensive rating of 116 and a defensive rating of 113, and then one player has an offensive rating of 106, 109, and also Devin Booker is a much more efficient player, 51% from the field to Russell Westbrook's 45%, and then Devin Booker's 36.4% from 3 and 23.4. Assists and rebounds, okay. Russ is the only player right now on the Rockets that is able to rebound. It's like they were one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, and now Mike D'Antoni's just like, all right, go grab boards for us. So that was one thing that Russell Westbrook does have over him is rebounding ability. Absolutely, Russ is probably the best rebounding guard in the NBA right now, maybe ever. At least true guard wise, maybe Magic, I would say, possibly over him, but like he's definitely in conversation for best rebounding guard of all time. And then the assist part, I think you're also just dealing with a more efficient offense in Houston. You're playing with a better scorer in James Harden, and Russ is typically around 10. So, like, he's taken a step back either. So, if you're looking at Russell Westbrook, what he typically has done, he's usually up near 10 assists per game, and he's dropped down to 7.5. So, am I impressed by his 7.5 assists per game? No, not really. I'm more impressed by Devin Booker putting up 27 on efficient shooting stats. He is probably the best, one of the most efficient scoring guards this year right now. That is more impressive than Russell Westbrook's, points, rebounds, and assist splits.
The guy I think that Devin Booker should have took his spot was Donovan Mitchell. Because I look at it, Devin Booker's scoring more, he's more efficient, they have the same amount of rebounds, Devin Booker has more assists. Like the only thing that Donovan Mitchell is doing better is he's got more steals per game. But it's like, to me, I look at it and it's like the yin and yang. Yes, defense is important, but it's like overall, Devin Booker should be an all-star. It's the same argument I'm going to make for Zach later on in Superfans because we make the comparison that D Book and Levine are the exact same. D Booker should be an all-star.
But then if you're going to look at plain, if you're looking at plain stats, then yeah, sure, Devin Booker's typical splits look better, but Donovan Mitchell should be an all-star. He should just be an all-star over Russell Westbrook. If we're looking at win shares, Devin Booker 5.2, Donovan Mitchell 4.7, Russell Westbrook 3.3. If we're looking at true shooting, Devin Booker 63.4%, Donovan Mitchell 56.1%, Russell Westbrook 52.6%. Box score plus minus, Devin Booker 2.2, Russell Westbrook 1.9, Donovan Mitchell 1.8. VORP 1.7 for Devin Booker, 1.6 for Donovan Mitchell, 1.5 for Russell Westbrook. Defensive box score plus minus is the only advanced metric that Russell Westbrook leads. 1, he has a defensive box plus minus of 1. Devin Booker negative 1.9 and Donovan Mitchell negative 1.7. But also you can just look at the teams as well. You're playing with better defenders in Houston. In
fantastic.
Houston than the Suns, but I'm not saying the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell he's a fine defender one-on-one. He's not a good defender.
Yep.
But he's obviously his numbers are a little bit boosted from playing with fucking Rudy Gobert. But I would say that Donovan Mitchell, and we talked about earlier, even before the podcast happened, the lineup that's played nearly 500 minutes this year of net rating, and Donovan Mitchell is a part of that that lineup. Where Russell Westbrook, it's just he's inefficient. Like he's always been inefficient, and this year is not spectacular. He's not averaging a triple-double. He's not the guy on a team anymore. He's not asked to carry a team anymore at this point. The only thing he's asked to do is rebounds. And what? Like I'm not that impressed by that. Like what's his true effect to this team, Dave? That he should be an all-star.
He is a guy you can count on to drive. His game has changed in a way that I didn't see it coming. Like in the last month, he's kind of hit that realization, or it's sunk in, or D'Antoni's got to stick in, or Harden, whoever it is who got it through to him of, look, man, your 3-point shot's not falling. I know you're getting looks, but don't pull the trigger on as many of them. You're most efficient driving. That is how our offense is flowing better, and I think it's working. And when Russell Westbrook is a slashing guard who plays with intensity, who plays where he can take the ball to the low post, he can get physical because of how strong he is and how quickly he can move the ball on the court. Like that is where Russell Westbrook wins you games. He has like that extra gear he can go to. He has intensity. He has the ability to dominate in a fast break offense, and he works really well with the other pieces they have there. I think that's one of the things where you're like, oh, if you just put Devin Booker on that team and you put Russell Westbrook and you switch them, they're a better team. I don't know if they are or they aren't. I think Devin Booker's a great shooter, and I think that now that Devin Booker has a point guard, it's made the world of difference to him. But at the same time, if you look at turnovers, they almost had the same amount of turnovers, and yet Booker's only at 6 assists and Westbrook's at 8. Yep. So, like, again, he's a much better floor general than Devin Booker. Devin Booker gets assists because that offense has to flow through him because they were missing Ricky Rubio for a good portion of this year.
They just pass a shit ton too in their offense when it is fully clicking. I mean, they move the ball around a ton. So if they get an open look, they're going to take it. And Devin Booker's typically touching the ball, every possession. And to your point too, 7.4 assists for Russ per game to 4.4 turnovers, where Booker 6.4 assists per game to 3.9. So very similar turnover numbers like you were saying. And then Russ has one more full assist than D-Book does per game.
And Chris Paul's at like 6-to-2 ratio. It's insane.
That dude absolutely is an all-star.
He's the point guard.
That team would not be where they are without him.
Agreed.
Like the reason that they're in the playoffs right now is because of Chris Paul. Yep. He's playing great defense. He's scoring a shit ton.
He takes over fourth quarter.
His leadership's been huge. His fourth quarter play has been great. That team, he's absolutely deserving of an all-star. Like if you want to, like. Russ scoring 26 isn't that impressive to me. He's taking 25 shots per game that he's playing in January. Like the guy is getting a ton of looks. Like the fact that he's scoring.
Who else do you expect to score on that team? You have Russell Westbrook and James Harden. You have two guys.
I know, but like a guy scoring 26 on 22 shots a game, like that's not impressive because he's shooting 54% or 45% from the field. Like I don't care that much about like Russell Westbrook's inefficiency. And you can say who else is scoring. He's got the best scorer in the league on his fucking team.
Yeah, who's getting double and triple teamed. So he has to. So in the month of January, he's putting
James Harden's still more efficient.
Yeah. I'm not just saying.
I know, but I'm just saying
James Harden is a fucking different level that he'll never get the respect because of his early career flopping.
Sorry, technically he's not 43% from the field, but I bet his true shooting percentage is higher.
Oh dang, yeah, because that counters in free throws.
61% true shooting to Russ's 52.
Right, because of free throws. But like in January, like Russell Westbrook, 32, 8 and 8, on 52 from the field. Like that's pretty fucking good. And Devin Booker's got a stat line that's just as impressive. I just think they went for let's take guys off of winning teams. That was, would you rather have the second best player on a fantastic team or the worst player or the best player on a terrible team? And that's where they drew the line.
I would rather have the best.
Give me the best player regardless of team.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the East and West, that's the way it happened for everybody.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So that's what it is. I don't think it's a snub. I think that was the clear decision that was made, and I have no issues with that.
Any
on the
issues
East side?
Any issues with Bradley Beal? We haven't brought him up yet.
Well,
54.3% from the field, 32.5% from 3, 85% from the line, 22.6 per, 30.4 win shares, 28, 40, 4.5, and 6.4 assists.
He okay at basketball.
I mean,
his team's better when he's not out there.
For me, it's hard to.
Not a good stat.
Not a good stat.
the guys that I had a problem with when it came to the East, number one is Kyle Lowry, I think, is on the bottom of the totem pole. You can pick him off if you want.
Don't you dare say Bam's name out loud.
Well, no. I'm bringing up Bam because of the reserve thing. Because of the two reserves, Jimmy deserves it more than Bam, but Bam has been lights out this year. The other one that, and Bam falls into the same category as this next person of Sabonis, where I feel like it's hard to go after those two guys because they're averaging double-doubles.
They're also different players. They need bigs.
No, I know that, but it's like, that's another thing, too. It's like, which guards are you going to take out of this? And that's why, to me, it's like Kyle Lowry is the guy. Where if you're going to swap out a guard for either Levine or Beal, because those are the next two that I think are up in the East, Kyle Lowry's it. And I think Levine or Beal should be in the All-Star game over Kyle Lowry. I think we're giving Kyle Lowry...
What does Kyle Lowry mean to the Raptors versus what does Zach LaVine and Bradley Beal mean to their respective teams is the question. Because this is a Raptors team that lost the best player in the league last year. The guy who won them a championship.
Yeah.
And they haven't missed a beat.
Pascal Siakam's...
Grown, yes.
I feel like
but he's also missed
Pascal
games.
Siakam means more to that team than Kyle Lowry.
Also a starter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just saying. Clearly, he's seen as more important.
Yeah, I know he's the best player on their team.
No, I know.
The point
I didn't
is
say you didn't say that. I'm just saying.
They haven't fallen off. They've been right there. They've got an aging Marc Gasol, Serge Ibaka, both on the end of their prime career contract.
And this is the problem I have with when I think of All-Stars, I separate you got to, in my mind, separate the team success.
No,
because
you can't.
A win-loss record is not on one player; it's on a team. The only person that can lead a team by himself, in my mind, is LeBron. So unless you want every All-Star to be on LeBron's level, which ain't gonna happen, I look at it and I go, with me, when I look at an All-Star, what is his play mean? Like, you circle it on his play and what he has done this season. The win-loss doesn't matter to me when it comes to an All-Star. It's who's played better this season. I think Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine have played better than Kyle Lowry this season.
Let's do this. All right.
Sure.
Let's play a little role player. Right. All right. So I'll give you 3 guards, and I want you to tell me who to pick. Look at me, so you can take it. I'm going to give you a lot. I know, but I'm going to give you a lot of numbers. They're not important right now. I'm asking you a question. All right.
I think Chet's always important. Go ahead.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Obviously, they're important.
Nope. Don't give a fuck about Chet. You could be here. You could not. We don't care. That's what we're saying.
Of you. All right. So I'm not going to bring up true shooting because all of these guys have fairly similar true shootings, around 57 to 56%. Usage percentage. Player A, 32.9%. Player B, 31.5%. Player C, 22.9%. Player A, 3.5 win shares, and 3.4. Fuck, I'm going to restart this. I'm going to just give you player A, player B, player C instead of going.
Sounds good.
Player A, 32.9 usage, 3.5 offensive win shares, -1 defensive win shares, 3.4 win shares total. And then their VORP is 1.4, an offensive rating of 114 and 119. So, again, player A, 32.9 usage, 3.5 offensive win shares, -0.1 defensive win shares, 3.4 win shares total, a VORP of 1.4, offensive rating of 114, defensive rating of 119. Player B, 31.5 usage, 1.8 offensive win shares, 2 defensive win shares, 3.8 win shares, and then 1.5 VORP with a 107 offensive rating and a 109 defensive rating. Kyle Lowry
is player C.
Player C. He's got a usage of 22.9%.
Once you said usage numbers, I knew who it was.
Shares of 2.9, defensive win shares of 1.9, win shares of 4.8 total, a VORP of 1.7, an offensive rating of 116, and a defensive rating of 107. Which player are you picking?
Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry.
Why? Why are you picking the first two? Kyle Lowry has better numbers than all of them.
So here,
outside
on lower
of usage. No,
well,
less
that's
usage.
That's what I'm saying. On lower usage, he's doing more.
I'm trying to find.
You're trying to find
I'm
Zach
trying to
Levine's
find
numbers.
something. No, not Zach Levine. Someone else.
So
to make my
when
case.
I look at this, I look at what Kyle Lowry's impact to the Raptors is. And Ricky, you want to throw out you want to toss out wins and losses as a non-factor, and I think you can't do that because to see a player's impact on a team, someone like Kyle Lowry, who is not only a locker room leader, he's a guy who's been there for the last is he up to 7 years
He has
in the Raptors?
been there since 2012, 2013.
All right, well, that's a lot of years.
8 seasons.
8 seasons. It's just impressive that he's a guy who's continued to grow his game. He's taken different roles on the team as they've transitioned players in and out of that roster. And this year, he knew he needed to step up. Last year, we watched him take a backseat to Kawhi Leonard and become a complementary piece. This season, we've watched him step up, and his numbers reflect that. He went from 14 points a game last year back up to 19 points a game this year. He's still got the ability to score. He's got the ability to defend in the low post. He's a good defender everywhere for the most part. And he can be a guy they can count on to get buckets and keep them in games and win them games. That's the thing. He does a little bit of everything really well, and he doesn't need to have the ball in his hands to impact the team's win-loss ratio.
If you're going to bring up usage,
Yes.
and this is what I wanted to look for this, if you're going to bring up usage and say that, well, Kyle Lowry should be in the All-Star game because he does more than
With
the other
less.
two with less,
Yeah.
then Devin Booker should be in over Westbrook. Because Devin Booker's doing better things than Westbrook statistically, but he has a lesser usage than Russell Westbrook.
My argument was never more
No,
with
but-
less for everyone.
No,
it
and
was the
that-
West. You're taking the two best.
No. And
Players
I'm
of the best team.
I'm saying here, if you're going to say that Kyle Lowry should be in because he's doing better with less, then you can apply the same thing to the West, where Devin Booker is doing better with less time because he's got less usage than Russell Westbrook.
I think their teams are completely different, and it's apples and oranges to me.
Well, and that's the thing too of like
you can't
to
just
me,
take one. You can't take one thing and say this means we have to do X, Y, or Z. It's a package. It's when you build the whole case.
I'll put it this
I think
way.
it's one
I'll put it
notch
this way.
on the side that says, look, he's got lower usage and better counting stats.
This year alone, this is how I usually would pick an all-star.
Sure.
This year's version of them alone. If you were in a fantasy draft
Yep.
and those 3 players were available, and this is the first pick for your team,
Right.
who are you picking? Beal, Levine, or Lowry?
Devin Booker and Bradley Beal.
No, I would say no. This is on the east side. So if
Then
you had
Bradley Beal.
if you had one, Beal, Levine, and Lowry. I'm
Bradley
not
Beal.
picking Lowry. I'm picking the other two. I'm probably picking Beal or Levine. I would have to look at both of them together, but I'm not picking Kyle Lowry in that case.
I mean, the Levine and Lowry thing, though, I think are dependent on the teams around them. I think Bradley Beal is going to probably honestly be better because there's no way I'm going to be drafting that bad of a team. Like, the Wizards fucking suck. So the fact that Bradley
Yes.
Beal's numbers have gone down so badly, like so drastically defensively, are not shocking to me because I don't think he's trying.
Agreed.
So, like, if he had a better team out there, I think we would still see Bradley Beal being Bradley Beal. He's still scoring 29 points a game.
Yeah.
Like, he has to, but also he's still doing it and, better efficiency than Zach LaVine is. So I think that at least with Beal, like, Beal is the most talented player out of all of that crop. So Beal, at least talent-wise, should be an all-star. Devin Booker, then if you want to make the argument, Russell Westbrook should because he's the most athletic player out of, him and Devin Booker. I think right now you could probably argue that Devin Booker is more talented. One of them has a 70-point game. I mean, we're out of scoring-wise, it's a tough
I get you.
Battle to have.
Yeah.
But I think Devin Booker got snubbed for the 3rd time in his career. I think he just finally deserves one where Russ... This is one of his worst off years. So I would say that, Booker probably deserves more love than Russell Westbrook here. But if we're talking about, making that argument, Bradley Beal is my pick, no doubt about it. And I think that, if we're talking about the defensive win shares from Zach LaVine, the reason he's got 2, I think, is boosted a little bit by playing next to Chris Dunn and playing with, Wendell Carter Jr. for the majority of the season. I mean, this team is number 1 in every single month in steals. So that's going to boost athletic guards that are able to jump routes, a little bit more. And also, I mean, LaVine has worked into his defensive side. I'm not going to discredit that.
Thank you.
But if you still ask me who's a better defender on the same team, I would still take that Bradley Beal over Zach LaVine. So I don't think
'cause
Zach
we've
LaVine
seen
has
it past
any
years.
edge over Bradley Beal here. The guy that got snubbed was Beal.
I just think everybody's looking for different things when they're thinking of what an all-star means to them. And you're never going to have the same thing because we're all looking for different things.
And the other thing,
I hate to say it, and that's why I brought up the All-NBA teams because that is who is the best player at the end of the year. Here's your top 15 players at the end of the year. And if you want to say that shouldn't line up with the All-Star game, that makes sense. Because if you look at if you look at in past years, who's on the All-NBA teams versus who's on the All-Stars, there's a lot of overlap there, but it's not 1-to-1. And I think that's the thing that people get lost in. And you want to give credit to, like, it's a legacy award at times. James Harden is someone who's always going to be an All-Star from now till the end of time, unless he's hurt and not playing.
LeBron James,
same thing. Russell Westbrook, I feel, is in the same category. His stats aren't efficient, but he's someone who has the draw. He is someone who has the desire. He's someone
MVP.
Exactly. He had he was the guy who brought the triple-double back to normalcy. Like, it's just one of those situations where you're going to lean on your guys who are known cash commodities versus these younger guys like Devin Booker has had fantastic stats for 3 years in a row now, and we're like, snub. But, like, you look at the guys in front of them, and they're guys who have shoe contracts. They're guys who are out there making money for the NBA.
And if his team was in the playoffs, he would be an All-Star.
100%.
I mean, there's no... If both teams, if the Suns and Rockets were both in the playoffs right now, Devin Booker would be an All-Star.
100%.
And you could just look at Rudy Gobert as well. Rudy Gobert finally gets the All-Star nod. Shout out Rudy Gobert. But he was a guy that's a two-time All-NBA player, even before that he was named to this All-Star team. So at least going to your thing that there isn't always overlap with these teams, seeing the best players in the league. Rudy Gobert is a shining example of that, finally being recognized for being an All-Star here. Final thoughts with this. Booker, Beal, any other snubs? Throw it out there.
Do positions matter? I'm just gonna. I know that's not your question.
Jake makes a great point. This is only a half a season award stat as well. Yeah. So it's a good point.
Sure. I don't get I get you got to have some people play the 4 and the 5, but when it comes to some of the reserves, I think they're so handicapped. But no, we got to have a forward here. It's like, no, if there's a guard that's doing better than a forward, give them the nod for a bench spot.
And then do we add extra slots to the team? We've added teams and not added slots. It feels like the proportion's off.
Bam Adebayo, I think, is better than Zach LaVine at least when it comes. Yeah, he's not scoring 20 fucking points a game or whatever, 27 points a game, whatever. But I mean, to that Heat team that is winning a ton of games and the way that he's playing that position, he is one of the best at his position. So maybe the position is less important, but you also need to recognize that position. So Bam Adebayo should be an All-Star over. I mean, I don't think he's even in the conversation of guys that should be not in the All-Star game.
He doesn't have a weak case at all. Like, without Bam, that team doesn't go.
And he has a better case than Domantas Sabonis does.
Let me throw this out there, and this is what Dave just asked. Do we add more slots?
No.
Do we? And the rosters are deeper in the other sport too. But like I'm thinking back to Sam's relocation topic that we talked about, and how I redid it into 4 divisions. Does the NBA eventually kind of think about what hockey is doing? Where it's, hey, instead of just 2 teams, let's have 4, and let's have like a tournament style, where it's like maybe the first 2 games you play 2 quarters, and then that last game is on the day after, and that's like the All-Star Game championship.
You know what you could do is just play.
Play better.
Have
is
6
that what
teams.
You're gonna say? Play
Have 6 teams, and have
everyone.
Not 6 teams. That wouldn't make sense. Have 4 teams, and have
5-on-5s.
Two Western Conference teams, 2 Eastern Conference teams, and then play 5-on-5s or 3-on-3s. If you want to do 3-on-3s for the first game, play up to 24.
Okay.
If you want to keep the Kobe thing around, play the first game just up to 24. Winner advances, and then you could do a full game.
Got to win by 2.
Where you're only wasting 3 guys, and you're not playing a ton of games. You're only only playing up 24 points. Maybe that's what you do. But that's the only thing I can think of.
But that doesn't add any slots. You can just say it's the starters versus the bench.
Well, no, it would add spots because you're making 2 teams. You're making 4 teams.
Yeah.
So you need to, because then you're going to need the same amount of players for
you need a bench.
But then also you're watering down All-Stars. But I don't know.
That's the other point
fucking
to it
All-Stars.
also.
That's what I'm saying. Is it a legacy award for your career? Like, at the end of your career, he's an 8-time All-Star. He's
it's mentioned.
We always bring it up.
Always mentioned, but should it hold the same weight as an All-NBA? I don't think so.
I think it holds.
And yet that gets brought up more than All-Star.
That's
like,
why
All-Stars
I
get brought up more than All-NBAs.
Because I think it's more apparent. There's a game. There's no All-NBA game.
Exactly.
But All-NBAs are more important.
Yep.
But also then again, nobody's watching. Like, it's like, Gold Gloves in MLB. Shouldn't be an award that's voted on. There's statistically like best defensive players. That's what should get it. And I know it's tough to define that because not every stat in basketball is defined and what makes a great, defensive player. But like, for like, what was it? there was like MVP, like 2 years ago, when it should have been like James Harden or whatever, is based off of like wins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Coach of the Year is always based on who wins the most games, and that's just not true. Like who does the most impressive job. Like you could argue like Nate McMillan and Nick Nurse are doing a better job than Mike Budenholzer, but Budenholzer would probably be the lead candidate for Coach of the Year because his team's got more wins. So I don't know. That's up to that. Some people are bringing up Cat.
The Wolves are going to be bad this
season. Could have been a snub.
One of the best tweets ever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Timberwolves.
The Wolves
Twitter.
are going to be bad this season, and then they're like 7-23 since that tweet.
Oh, they're worse.
But with that, yeah, I mean, Cat was kind of a snub. PG was kind of a snub, but it really doesn't count because of the because of the playing time. And then Jokic also started really slow, but he's a star. So get the fuck out of here. Retro. He started the season really slow, but he's also the GOAT. So they're not going to leave him out.
So what you're saying is, and it plays into it because you said he's a star. If you're not considered a star, doesn't matter how well you play, you're not a star, and it's an all-star. So that's basically what
are you
we
talking about? What's your fucking point here?
So you just said, and I'm not saying Jokic shouldn't be an all-star, but
That's just-
you're like, oh, he's a star, and it made me think, well, if you're outside of that, like for example, Devin Booker and Zach LaVine, I feel like some people would say, oh, well, they're not stars in the NBA. I made the joke of, well, if you're not a star, it doesn't matter how well you play. Because it's an all-star. So if you're not a star, you're not going to get
I
it.
guess that's just more of the Russell Westbrook, Devin Booker thing, yeah, I guess. But also, I mean, Jokic is playing like a star. Jokic is also an MVP and also is the love of my life. So I'm going to call him a star because he's fucking amazing. Anyways, that's going to do it. Jake's also saying that Booker's a star. We're going to go into Wet Boys, talk about our stars, our true stars, and I'm going to bash Ricky again because Jesus Christ, this kid, each and every week, it's just
I think they're
a bad
5-17, by the way, Timberwolves, since that tweet.
5-17. I think it's later because they tweeted that in like October.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
That was November. Or, I'm sorry, December.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Check that.